Ay, 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 ay. Tururu, tururu, tururu. Now look at the calendar in 2025. So in January we had Gospel Shabbat. In February we had Beatles Shabbat. In April, it's already sold out. We have Shabbat on the beach. Sold out means because the city of Sunny Isles has a limit, how many people can you feed. So we value all those who joined and clicked and will be with us next Friday night there. Today we are calling it Young Professional Shabbat. Young means being open to growth, to question, and to learn. To be young today is to stand at the crossroad of immense opportunity and responsibility. We live in a time of great challenges, but also incredible access to Torah, to global Jewish community, to innovation. The young generation today has the power to redefine Jewish identity. I'm not exaggerating. After October 7 and all this screaming and hate that appears, we don't know from where. Actually, we do know. We do know how much they hate us. So the young generation has an opportunity to redefine Jewish identity, to carry forward our heritage in ways that are both traditional and forward-thinking. We are writing a new chapter of Jewish history, and every young person is a part of that story. What does it mean to be a professional today? In an era of rapid change, professionalism is no longer just about expertise. It's about adaptability, ethical responsibility, and making a meaningful impact. As Jews, our tradition teaches us that our professions, our skills, are not just a means to make an income, but a platform for Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying God's name in the world. Whatever you do, how do you bring Jewish values into your work? So to be a young professional is not just about having a career, it's about crafting a life of purpose, responsibility, and continuous growth. So this Shabbat, instead of you listening to me, I asked two of the leaders of this new committee in Beit Torah, the Young Professional Committee, to tell us about what's their dream, what our thinking of, what are their goals. So we'll have to invite Greg Drasdow and Igal Roisman to share some thoughts with us.
This is exciting. Hi everyone, Shabbat Shalom. I don't think I've spoken from here since my bar mitzvah, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Igal Roisman, and I am by far the least talented Roisman on this bima. But nonetheless, I do want to welcome you all to our Beth Torah Young Professional Shabbat. We started this Young Professionals initiative a few months ago, so we figured it would make sense to share with you how this came to be and what we have done so far. It is almost unthinkable that 18 months have passed since October 7th. The weight of that day remains emotionally devastating at home, not to mention the suffering in Israel. The pain and uncertainty persist, and as we watch events unfold, it can sometimes feel overwhelming. But that is exactly why spaces like this matter. In times of crisis, it's easy to feel powerless. But what we do here, coming together, strengthening our bonds, and deepening our Jewish identity, is an act of resilience. In the aftermath of October 7th, we found ourselves, probably like so many of you, searching for answers, for connection, for something to hold on to. The attack on our people was not just an attack on Israel. It was an attack on all of us, on our shared identity, our history, and our future. And at that point, it became clear to us that we needed a space, not just to process and grieve, but to support, to stand together, and to take ownership of our Jewish future. And that's how this Young Professionals group was born. It started as an idea, a conversation among friends who wanted to do more, to engage more, to not feel alone. And just in a few months, with Beth Torah support, it has become a space where we learn, connect, and build together. Now, I always find it incredible how the parasha of the week can often be so relevant to our lives. This week's parasha speaks about the final accounting of the Mishkan. For those of you who don't remember, it was a sacred space that the Jewish people built in the desert. Every piece, every donation, every effort was counted and valued, showing that building something holy requires intention and community. In many ways, that is what we've been doing. Brick by brick, person by person, creating a space where young Jews can come together with purpose. To share a little bit about what we have done thus far. We've gathered to brainstorm ideas for this space. We learned through an engaging discussion with the Consul General of Israel. We witnessed the horrors of October 7th by visiting the Nova Festival exhibit as a group. We focused on healing by doing yoga, laughed together by attending Elon Gold's comedy show, and today we're gathering for Shabbat. And this is just the beginning. Our goal is to keep growing. There's a Talmudic well-known story about an old woman who was working hard to plant a carob tree. When a passerby stopped and asked her, "Why are you planting this tree? It takes 70 years to bear fruit. You'll never get to eat from it." The woman did not stop her task, but replied, "My grandparents planted a carob tree so that one day I could taste their fruit. So today I plant for my grandchildren, the future." And that's exactly what we're doing here. We may not always see the full impact of the community we're building today, but by coming together, by showing up for one another, we're strengthening the Jewish future, brick by brick, person by person. So I invite all of you, whether you have been part of this journey already or are just hearing about it now, to join us, to help build something that matters, to be part of shaping a Jewish future that is strong, vibrant, and resilient in the face of adversity. Now, Greg here is one of our co-founders, so I will pass it over to him, and Shabbat Shalom. Thanks for being here.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Igal. As Igal shared with you, his passion and purpose for starting our Young Jewish Professionals initiative came from a place, as you can tell, as a place of pride, urgency, and deep love for our community. And similarly, I'd like to take a few minutes just to share why I got behind this initiative, and why I said yes to joining him, as well as what this initiative means to me personally. After October 7th, like many of you, I felt overwhelmed. The horror of what happened in Israel, the pain, the loss, and then the silence, the hatred, the lies. It felt like the world had turned upside down. And for me, in that moment, I didn't just feel sadness, I felt fear, I felt anger, and I felt helplessness. But more than anything, I also felt the weight of responsibility. At the time it happened, I thought, what if this was me or my family? And the reason my mind immediately went there was because, like many people who have visited Israel over the years, I too had a first-hand experience with this conflict almost a decade ago. In 2014, while on Birthright, I was with friends in Beersheba playing basketball. And toward the last days of our trip, all of a sudden we were walking back to our camp after playing basketball about 9 p.m., and we saw fireworks. However, as you can probably imagine, these were not fireworks. They were Hamas rockets firing right at us, and then the Iron Dome knocking them out of the sky before they could hit us. The next 3 days of our trip, we experienced over 10 sirens. The next morning specifically, there was a siren that went off at 6 a.m. on the dot in the kibbutz that we were staying at. My cousin and I didn't know what to do. As we were shook from our beds, we got on the ground and we just held each other. Thankfully, it was nothing more than experiencing rocket fire for me, something unfortunately Israelis have endured and endure every day. And thankfully for us, it wasn't October 7th. But on October 7th, 2023, I thought, what if it was me? Also, at the time of October 7th, my daughter was just 10 months old. And after seeing the world react, all I could think about was, how do I protect her? How do I raise her with strength and pride and unwavering love for being Jewish? Again, I felt fear, I felt anger, and I felt helpless. But more than anything, I did feel that weight of responsibility. So I decided to get involved in my Jewish community. The first thing I did was go on my social media and start posting about Israel. Doing my best to combat all the narratives out there, I took a risk turning my platform, which was traditionally used for financial literacy for my business, to posting something about Jewish identity and Israel. But I didn't care. I knew it had to be done. I then started looking for other ways to help. And eventually I got involved with JNF, but I was also trying to find ways to get more involved here in our synagogue. It was only shortly after that Igal, longtime friend who I had actually not spoken to, I think, in about 10 plus years. He called me and said something simple but powerful. Greg, how are you? I'm good. I'm okay. Listen, we have to do something in our community, and I want to start a group or figure out how to bring people together. And without hesitation, I responded with 2 words, I'm in. Because like a Gaul, I knew how important it was to bring our community and people together, especially the younger Jewish community, many of which have felt alone and alienated, especially where this hate was in front of our faces on social media every day. I knew for me that I wanted to get back to my Jewish identity again and do something to help, because at the core, that's who we are as Jewish people. We are doers, we are fighters, and when the world gets dark, when times feel uncertain, we don't shrink. We come together, we build, we protect, we lead. That's why we created the Young Jewish Professionals Initiative here at Beth Torah, and I couldn't be more honored to be doing this with the Gal. This is a space for people like us, young professionals, to come together, to learn, to connect, and to grow, to talk about holidays and traditions, to dive into Jewish ethics or business, to explore how maybe Talmudic lessons could apply to our modern daily lives, to process current events through a Jewish lens, or most importantly, to face anti-Semitism and be equipped to stand strong against it. It's also a space to ask big questions. How do we raise Jewish children in today's world? How do we lead a Seder that actually means something in our homes? How do we ensure our heritage doesn't fade, but flourishes? We're just getting started, but we have big plans. We're looking to do more, like partner with other Jewish organizations for events. We want to volunteer together to give back. We're exploring maybe a trip to Israel. We're even talking about maybe a mentorship program so that older Jewish professionals can help guide the next generation. All of this is still in motion, and we welcome everyone who wants to be a part of shaping it. Because this group is more than just social, it's more than professional, it's personal for all of us. It's about belonging, strength, and showing up for ourselves, for each other, and the generations that come next. And for our Jewish identity that is not only safe, but proud, loud, and unbreakable. As Pirkei Avot reminds us, Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, velo ata ben chorin levatel b'memuna. It is not your duty to finish the work, but neither are you free to ignore it. And this particular quote speaks deeply to the Jewish sense of responsibility, perseverance, and purpose. It reminds us that no one can fix the world or complete the grand mission of Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, but we still have a duty to take action, to show up, to contribute what we can, even if the job seems endless or overwhelming. We may not solve everything, but we will do something. We will act, we will lead, we will build, for ourselves and for our community, for our friends, our family, and our children. I'm very excited to what's to come. Thank you for all listening and about our group and our initiative, and we'll keep you updated. Shabbat Shalom and Am Yisrael Chai.
I came yesterday from Argentina from a trip. I had a wedding, and there is a beautiful place called Librería El Ateneo. Who knows Librería El Ateneo? It's beautiful, huh? Wow. It's one of the most gorgeous bookstores in the world, literally, no? I think another one who can compete is one in Portugal with Harry Potter, no? You know what I'm talking about? This is absolutely amazing. And so I bought the last book that there is a French author. She's actually a female rabbi. Her name is Delphine Orvelure. Yes? She's amazing. And there is a phrase in the book that I wanted just to find some inspiration to talk to the group later, but you know, I will kill it now and I will let them alone. They don't need a rabbi in that meeting. And this is what she said. Non-belonging condemns one to death. Excessive belonging to never be yourself. Again, no belonging means death. Belonging too much means when will you be yourself? And I remember when Greg Igal came and approached us and says, no, we want a place where we can think, where we shouldn't be afraid in a synagogue to ask and to challenge and say, hey, You want to belong, but you want to be yourself. At the end of the day, I think this is what every Jew needs. A place to belong, because without Ruth, there is nowhere to go. But also allow me to express myself. So that's my gift for you for this Shabbat. Think, no belonging means to be death. Excessive belongings has the risk to never touch your own identity. Speaking about female rabbis, I would love to welcome Rabbi Silvina Chemen. Rabbi Chemen is the head of the Interfaith Affairs in the Seminario Rabínico Latinoamericano. She's also the rabbi of Comunidad Bethel in Buenos Aires. She's with her husband, Héctor Shalom. If I ask you, where is the Anne Frank house, what will you say? Muy bien, one more place. Buenos Aires. Sí, you can Google it. They built with the permission of the Queen, correct? The Queen from Holland allowed them to rebuild a place that used to be a place where people, remember los desaparecidos, the missing people with the junta? So this is a house that people hide, and so the government allowed them to build there the Anne Frank, and it's an educational opportunity, so everybody who will travel to Buenos Aires has the chance. So welcome both to Beth Torah Bnei Brak campus, your spiritual home away from home.